guards announcing at 7:30. College of Charleston is one of the other schools on his short. It's South Carolina, Charleston, VCU, Mississippi State, and Virginia Tech. He's been pegged by for South Carolina, so we'll see if that comes down at 7:30 tonight. The Gamecocks be another nice pickup there for Lamont Paris. Clemson defensive coordinator Wes Goodwin is a nominee for the Broyles Award as college football's top assistant coach. Also among the nominated are Spring Valley grad Travis Williams, who's the DC and linebacker coach at Arkansas. Also on the list are former USC offensive coordinator Mike Bobo, now the OC QB coach at Georgia. Troy, DC, Greg Gasparotto, the son of former USC assistant Nick Gasparotto and a former safety at Wofford, and Tulane, DC, Sheil Wood, Wofford grad and former DC with the Terriers. So Wofford getting some love there from the award. Except it's not their coaches; it's people who came through Wofford. In our poll question of the week, who's going to win the Palmetto Bowl a week from Saturday, based on what you've seen of the teams to this point? And South Carolina continues to hold a comfortable edge, 521 votes, 55.9% vote the Gamecocks, 44.1% vote the Tigers. Have you, Chris Bergen, have you made up your mind yet who's going to win that game?
I have not. I think a lot of it depends on what happens with South Carolina this weekend. Because if they lose against Kentucky, you wonder, again, it's the in-state rivalry. I get it. But I think that will take a little bit of steam out of the Gamecock sails if they're not playing for anything other than just to beat Clemson. I think they'll be a much more motivated team if they beat Kentucky and have the win over Clemson and also a bowl bid riding on that game next weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to beat Kentucky. So I think they're going to have
I do too.
A lot of confidence, a lot of momentum, and then we'll think about what's going to happen there. But I think they'll beat Kentucky, be 5-6, and then have everything on the line when they take on Clemson. Former Gamecock tight end Hayden Hurst with the Panthers is in concussion protocol. And Clemson released the 24 baseball schedule today. The Tigers will open their season at home, 3-game series against Xavier, and that will be on February 16th. The ACC opener will be March 15th at Duke. The ACC home opener will be the next weekend against Florida State. The Tigers will play 5 ACC home series and a like number on the road. The annual 3-game series with South Carolina will start in Columbia March 1st. The neutral site for game number 2, which is controlled in 2024 by the Gamecocks, has not yet been determined. Game 3 will be Sunday, March 3rd at Clemson. Clemson will be the team responsible for the 25 neutral site game. So
Can we get rid of it?
With the first game being played in Columbia, I mean, from a travel standpoint, that eliminates Charleston and Myrtle Beach. You're not going to go east for your second game, which means, and I don't think they'll go to, they could go to Augusta if Augusta makes a big play. You know, it could be, I think it'll be one of two parks. I think it'll be either up in Greenville at the park there, where it's where it's been held many times. Help me out. That's
it's where the drive play. I don't know the name of the facility.
I should know that. What is that?
Floor Field.
Floor Field.
There we go.
I think it'll either be there or the Pro Park in Columbia. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But we'll see. They've done that before. I think they've had that second game, that neutral site game in Columbia at the Pro Park once before. So that would be my guess, with the first game being in Columbia. That would be my guess.
It'd be so great to have, I don't know, all 3 games at one locale on campus, like college games are supposed to be played.
Yep. You just do not like neutral site games. I see that some of the other teams on the Clemson schedule include Presbyterian, Kennesaw State, and Upstate, and Kansas State. Kansas State's stopping in Columbia for a Wednesday game. How about that? Just
It's
come on in,
weird.
Kansas State. That's they got Greensboro, a couple of games with Manhattan. They got Winthrop. They got Coastal. They've got, like I said, Upstate. They've got Charlotte, and then Coastal. I guess I should talk about the league series that are home and away and where they fall. So we mentioned they'll open at Duke, and then their first home series will be Florida State. Then they'll go. Their next ACC series will be at Miami, and then a trip to Notre Dame. So three of their first four ACC series will be on the road. Then they come home for NC State and then Pittsburgh. They go to Louisville, host Georgia Tech, play at Wake Forest, and finish up at home against Boston College. And of course, they'll also play Georgia a couple of times home and away as part of that schedule. So there you
And
go.
I tell you, from people who know baseball over at Coastal a lot better than I do, they say look out for the Chanticleers. This may be as good a team as Gilly has had in a while, and it would be appropriate, wouldn't it, in his last year? And they're actually going to Omaha during the regular season.
Oh,
They're playing Creighton,
really?
but they're going to be out there. So wouldn't it be appropriate and fascinating and fun if he's able to guide them back there for the World Series one final time before he retires?
So they'll go to Omaha to play, but they won't play South Carolina or vice versa. That's just
Exactly.
go figure. All right,
Well,
triple
Gilly's
eight.
told us that's not on Coastal.
Oh, I
He
know.
wants that game. He's wanted that game for years.
I know. And it should be played. It should be
Mhm.
played. All right, 888-898-2525. Let's go to a Gamecock Larry in Columbia for our next call. Gamecock Larry, welcome in. Hope you're doing well.
Doing well, Phil. I know you are a Tiger man, but I got a question to ask you. What is the ladies' Gamecock record for the last two seasons? I got 67-1. Is that right?
That sounds about right to
That's
me
correct.
without
Yep.
looking at it myself.
You know
I
something?
trust your math.
I don't think Connecticut done too much better than that. Well, they might have. I don't follow nobody but the Gamecocks and check the Tigers once in a while. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, oh man, I was too early to brag for this year, but they sure look good. And Dabo, come on down to 25th. I got you right, ready to go back to Tigerland with your tail stuck between your legs. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later. Love on, y'all.
Thank you, Larry. Always good hearing from Gamecock Larry. Glad to hear that he's in full throat. He sounds like he's feeling pretty well, huh?
Yes, he does. And Carolina women went 36-2 2 seasons ago, and then 36-1, of course, last year. So that's what 72-3.
They've been really good.
Pretty good. Now,
really
Connecticut,
good.
keep in mind, Connecticut is still the standard. They won 100 and some odd games in a row. So yeah, Connecticut's still the standard. But right now, it's hard to be much better than what South Carolina has done the last few years.
I would agree. All right, thank you, Larry. Phone number 888-898-2525. Got a couple lines open if you want to join us here on Sports Talk. We're going to jump to our break in just a moment and then continue with more of your calls. Chalk Talk coming up after the top of the hour break, and then a visit with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources as we talk about the great outdoors in South Carolina. And he's going to be focusing on waterfowl season, which opens up this coming weekend in South Carolina. So if you're a duck, you might want to go somewhere else starting this weekend, right? You might
Yeah,
want
no
to
doubt.
head. You might want to head north if you can get out of town. You might want to head north as quickly as you can. You were in on the conference call today with Coach Tim Beck, and I guess it's going to be the number 3 QB starting at Army.
It is. As of today, as of now, as Tim Beck said, it'll be Ethan Vasco to go again. Jarrett Guest is available, but he was not committal to Beck was not committal to saying he would play, but he did say Ethan Beck would start. Grayson McCall, the only thing that he did say for sure, Grayson McCall is not available this week. He's getting better, but he's still not been cleared, so he's not going to play this week.
Do you think there's any chance he's going to play by the end of the season?
Well, you figure they've got guaranteed 3 more games left this weekend against James Madison, next weekend, and then the bowl. Now, if they beat James Madison next weekend, they would play for the Sun Belt title, so they could have as many as 4 games left. It sounds encouraging from the standpoint of how Grayson's health is getting better week in and week out, but you get to a point that I just don't know that he's going to come back. And, they miss him. It's like saying South Carolina keeps winning, but Spencer Rattler's not back there. They would miss Spencer Rattler. Gamecocks, the Chanticleers certainly miss Grayson McCall. There's no question, but everybody else has sort of stepped up around him to try and fill the void, and they've not lost since he got hurt. So they're not missing him from win-loss perspective. I just don't feel like he's going to get back out there. I hope I'm wrong to see him play one more time before he leaves CCU. I just don't know that that's in the cards.
Kind of like Juice Wells,
Exactly. Yeah, another great example.
Yeah, I think the feeling is that probably not going to make it back for obviously not Kentucky and probably not a Clemson game either. If the Gamecocks were to make a bowl, would he be interested in playing in a bowl game, or would he be interested in getting healthy and then go ahead and testing his stock in the NFL draft? But would another year in college help raise his stock? How are the scouts going to look at him? Do they go strictly off of last year's tape and say, okay, we see enough here to know what we've got, or would we like to see another year in college? That'll be something that will have to be determined by Wells at some point. Okay, we'll go to the break. We'll come back with more of your phone calls here on Sports Talk. That number, 888-898-2525. What do you think of the high school league division? Back in a moment.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, travel, concerts, and sporting events through co-op connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at SC Cattle. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler-Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit lawyerlisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Daddy, you need a trust.
Football season is upon us, and that means Columbia is welcoming fans from around the corner and across the country. No matter where you're from, love coming together for game day energy that can only be found in South Carolina's capital city. Book hotel rooms, find pre- and post-game activities, and plan your tailgate spread with local favorites from pimento cheese to barbecue at experiencecolumbiasc.com. 'com. We'll see you soon, and go Gamecocks!
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. 7511
We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is season in South Carolina this fall, and folks need to be prepared from a legal standpoint.
That's right, Phil. Everyone always needs to buy their hunting license or fishing license. Everyone always worries about losing their license. Well, now that's not a problem anymore because you can keep your license on your phone. That's right. Go Outdoors SC. It's an app. Look for it on your Apple or Android devices. You can buy your license. You can renew your boat registration, and it's all right there on your phone. Outdoors SC in your app store.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
From different worlds. You like to laugh at me.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk. Who is that guy coming into Columbia this weekend for the
Darude?
Yeah, okay. And he's a what?
Sandstorm author.
He wrote that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's his song.
That's his song. He's done quite well with it. I also saw guys
Yes, he
tweeting
has.
where they got some kind of official DJ coming in. It's
Oh, he's a DJ. He's a Finnish DJ. That's who Darude
there's
is.
another guy coming as a DJ too. I saw him tweet. He said he's South Carolina's #1 DJ. I didn't catch the name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they got
Cool.
DJs all over the place. DJ here, DJ there. How about a DJ Moore? Is DJ Moore coming to watch the game? Boom, boom.
Don't know.
It's a joke. Nobody gets my jokes anymore. Either my jokes stink or you people have no sense of humor. I think it's the latter. But
well, the one you said the other night you had to explain, and anytime you have to explain a joke, it's not funny.
I agree. I concur. But when you give a joke and it's greeted by silence, you just have the urge to explain. So, all right, back to the phones. 888-898-2525. We've run through the board the first time, Pat. So where are we going to go next? Just go ahead and shout it out.
For those that aren't aware, I'm trying to do 12 things at once right now. We're having some audio. I need a second to check with these callers, Phil.
Okay, well, let's check with them. Let's check them out. Yeah, we're going through a little transition because we've had audio feed issues here recently on the stream that people are complaining about. We want our listeners to be happy. So we're trying a little transitional stuff tonight, and I think so far it's working. Working well. Yeah, as far as I can tell.
By the way, have a little news that will affect Coastal in some regard. Evidently, the NCAA, and this is coming from college transfer portal, it just came out, and it surprises me, quite frankly, but the NCAA has ruled against James Madison, and they deemed them ineligible for postseason play this season. Phil, we talked about that last week. They wanted a waiver to be eligible for the conference championship game and also a bowl game, but that was against the rules that they signed up for when they transitioned from FCS to FBS. And I think you and I both believe the NCAA would cave. So good job from the NCAA of sticking to their rules.
Yeah, I think that's the right decision. I mean, come on. You got a rule. You know it when you make the transition. Just because you're having a fabulous season doesn't mean they should just waive the rule. And you knew that going in. So,
I mean, if they were 0-10, would they be lobbying for a waiver?
They'd be firing their coach. All right, Hank in Columbia. Let's roll back to the phones. Hank, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Corin. I'm not gonna mess with you today, Corin. I'm gonna try to mess with Chris Bergen a little bit.
You even knew his name. That's an improvement.
Yeah, the Bergen. Yeah, I was gonna ask Bergen, who is the standard in college football right now?
I would say Georgia.
Okay, you got you. Yeah, Georgia. I think when you mentioned that thing about Connecticut, they were the historical standard. But you got to remember now, it's the last 5 games that South Carolina's played. Connecticut. They've won 4 of the last 5, and Connecticut has lost 3 straight to them. And also, since Connecticut won their last championship, which is back in 2016, South Carolina's won 2 national championships and has spent over 40 weeks at number 1. For the last 3 years, South Carolina's been number 1 almost every year in the poll. Even when you go to last year, it was always they were number 1 all the way up until and then they spent 1 week out of number 1 this year and are back number 1. So historically, Connecticut was the standard. But then
100% correct on that, Hank. But let me chime in. The question that Larry brought up was consecutive wins. How many wins they had, and I said Connecticut was the standard because they won 100 some odd games in a row. That's what Larry was chatting about.
Yeah,
so that's what I was responding to.
Yeah, okay, because I always give them that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. The Gamecocks on the women's side.
We did not cut you off.
The Gamecocks on the women's side certainly have caught and surpassed a lot of teams.
Was that a women's basketball conversation? We were just.
It was, and a good one.
I just wanted to be sure. Thank you, Hank. We continue with the phone calls as we go next to Tiger Bryan. Tiger Bryan over in Lancaster. Tiger Bryan, welcome in. Good to have you well. Hope the wife is well. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's right, man. Hey, you remember that? Did you tell your wife that?
Every night.
You tell her, hey, you know what? It makes life so easy. Hey, but you know what, guys? Hey, I want everybody to know in Lancaster, I know they do it statewide. The big Thursdays at USCLs, like USC, that's what I'm doing, Aiken, everywhere. But at Lancaster, they doing the big Thursday. They have a, cookout and whatever. They make money from the scholarships they get. My kid, my last son got over there 2 years scholarship over there for me. He was smarter. He's smart like Miss Tiger Bryan. You know what I mean?
Understand.
Yeah. But
understand.
But hey, I pray everybody. But hey, I tell you what, y'all worried about why don't we talk about Clemson and North Carolina and South Carolina and Kentucky? Because hey, you can't jump the ship you can't jump the boat before you get to the ship. No, come on now.
Well, I think they both have to be concerned, obviously, about their opponents this weekend. I think it's kind of interesting because in the case of Clemson, they're going to be facing a dynamic offense, but a defense that they should be able to run against and score points. And South Carolina is going to be facing a better defense in Kentucky. It's going to give them a challenge, and an offense that too will line up and run the football. So I think you're looking at not certain victories for both of the home teams. If they don't play well, they won't win these games. These are not obviously walkovers by any means. And I think Clemson, with their situation in the secondary, and with the young guy starting back there, with a Drake May at quarterback and those receivers in Hampton, not only an excellent running back, but very good out of the backfield, that's going to be a real challenge for that secondary. We'll talk with the coaches about that coming up.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Democratic Joe Manchin of West Virginia City would absolutely consider a presidential run in 2024. Bob Agnew reports from Capitol Hill.
Manchin opened speculation about a possible White House bid when he announced last week he would not seek another term in the Senate. When asked by NBC whether he would consider a presidential run, Manchin said, absolutely. He also said, quote, every American should consider it if they're in a position to help save the country. Manchin says it all depends on Americans' desire for a middle-of-the-road candidate. He says he's scared to death of another term for Donald Trump, but also that Democrats have pushed President Biden too far to the left. Bob Agnew, Capitol Hill.
President Biden and China's Xi Jinping plunged into their first face-to-face meeting in more than a year. The two leaders are working to stabilize fraught relations during talks that have far-reaching implications for the world. Xi Jinping says through an interpreter the planet is big enough for both nations.
For two large countries like China and the United States, turning their back on each other is not an option. It is unrealistic for one side to remodel the other, and conflict and confrontation has unbearable consequences for both sides.
They face differences of opinion over the wars in the Middle East and Europe, as well as Taiwan and North Korea. A hospital director in Haiti says a heavily armed gang surrounded the hospital in Haiti and trapped women, children, and newborns in. Police rescued them. Jose Uliz, founder and director of the Fontaine Hospital Cité Soleil slum, pleaded for help via social media. He told the Associated Press that gangs were torching homes surrounding the hospital and preventing everyone inside from leaving. He had earlier said it appeared that gangs entered the hospital. On Wall Street, the Dow by 163 points, the Nasdaq rose 9. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Now playing. Harry, God has chosen you to have a son, the King of all kings. The greatest story ever told is now an epic Christmas musical for the whole family. You truly believe that this child is the chosen one? What is his name?
Jesus.
Journey to Bethlehem, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters now. Soundtrack also available. Get tickets now at journeytobethlehem.com.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen, BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire Portable Infrared Grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire Infrared provides the quick bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at besthotgrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at besthotgrill.com.
Israel military takes a calculated risk in entering a major hospital in Gaza. The latest from the Media Line's Felice Friedson.
While no one suggests the Israel-Hamas war is coming to 40 days into hostilities, Israel finds itself at a crossroads after the U.S. confirmed that Hamas runs its terrorist enterprise from underground bunkers beneath Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa. In the early hours Wednesday, the Israeli army began a dangerous and complicated operation to dismantle 5 subterranean buildings beneath the hospital. Experts say at stake is more than overrunning an objective. If terrorists and hostages were able to escape during the humanitarian time to save civilians and therefore comes up empty, the orchestrated worldwide anti-Israel protests will feast upon the remnants of Israel's image. I'm Felice Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On point weather. Possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast: cloudy and not as chilly, dipping to 50. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and gray with a high of 69 and a light on and off drizzle to deal with. Friday, we stay cloudy and shower chances increase to 40%. The high will be 71. For the weekend, much better with mostly sunny skies both Saturday and Sunday. Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
As a kid, you dreamed of being a firefighter one day. Now, the opportunity is yours. Answer the sound of sirens. Live your dream. Become a part of a team, a family. Visit scvolunteerfire.org to find out more.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, back with you on Sports Talk. Here on the Sports Talk Media Network, Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel on this Wednesday night. In just a moment, we'll have Coach Reedy, Coach Johnson with us. A little recruiting for you. And then SC Wild with Major Billy Downer. And what else? Really just want to talk to the coaches and get their thoughts about the performances of this past weekend and what they expect to see from the teams coming up this coming weekend, and maybe touch on little thing happening here and there in the coaching world, in the coaching circles. See if there's anything else here to tell you. We touched on James Madison, and we told you about the situation at Coastal with their quarterback situation. From South Carolina football, no new news today about anything related to injuries. From what Shane Beamer had to say yesterday, none of the assistant coaches, none of the coordinators had anything to add to that. What about Dabo Swinney? I know he's talking with the media right now. Chris, have you seen anything come from him that's new?
I have not had really a chance to dissect much of what he said. I do, I did think it was funny when I went over to his press conference to download it for the show. He's dressed in like two heavy coats. I realized there was probably a little chilly in the upstate, but he looks like a Yeti. He's come inside from the snow and the frozen tundra of Clemson University. It must be a little cold up in the upstate tonight, but other than that, I have not heard much of what he had to say.
I would think so. I would think that would be the case. You mentioned about James Madison. They also turned down the waiver request from Jacksonville State and Tarleton State. So all three schools got denied the opportunity
You
to,
get
to go
again,
to the playoffs.
they knew what they were getting into when they signed up for this. It's much like the ACC schools now complaining about the grant of rights deal. Yeah, it was a bad deal, but they signed it. They all wanted it. That's exactly what they wanted. And now they're stuck with it. And so they're going to complain about it and take their ball and go home if they don't get what they want. Same thing here for James Madison. You knew you were eligible for 2 years when you transitioned in. Jacksonville State, you knew you had to sit out a certain amount of time when you transitioned in. That's the deal. I'm sorry you're having a great, but it's not on the NCAA here. It's one of the few times the NCAA has actually shown they've got a backbone and stuck to a rule that now the greater question is, does the rule make any sense? And I'd argue, no, it doesn't, but it's the rule. It's like, should we go 65 miles per hour on the interstate? Does that make sense on an open highway? Probably not, but that's the law. So you have to go 65.
Well,
Same thing here. I mean, that's the rule.
I'm thinking they put that rule in to maybe try to discourage schools from trying to jump in for the money when they're not ready to, play at that level. That's what I'm thinking. All right, we've got the coaches standing by, so let's get to it. Time for another edition of Chalk Talk, Sports Talk. We welcome in two of the great minds in the history of college football, not just in this state, but around the world. Two men who have forgotten more about football than you or I would ever know. We go offensive with Chuck Reedy. We go defensive with Ellis Johnson. Coach Reedy, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great, Phil.
Man, I know you had a nice buyout from Baylor. How did your buyout compare to Jimbo Fisher's?
Well, let's put it this way. Ellis's was a lot better than mine was. He's a lot closer to them Jimbo than I was.
Ellis, how did yours compare to Jimbo Fisher? That's right. Both of you got nice buyouts.
I did not see Jimbo's details, but it was quite a bit less.
Well, considering as it was broken down by somebody on Twitter that last night while he was sleeping, he made $9,800. So,
well, he made that money over the last 4 years. But I tell you, I think I had similar terms on when they started paying. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you both a serious question now. And Ellis, unfortunately for you, you were the victim of a 1-year deal at Southern Miss, and Arnett's the victim of a 1-year situation there at Mississippi State. Jimbo had more time, but I mean, what do you think is going on in this age, even reaching back to your years? What is going on with these presidents and ADs about pulling the trigger? So is it simply they're getting too much pressure from boosters to make a change, and it's just better to make the change and eat the contract and start anew, but make sure you keep the boosters happy?
You got a lot of questions in there. I mean, my situation in some ways was like Zach's. I took the job, and before I went down and really started work, the AD resigned. Before I coached the next season, the president was gone. The administrative thing was absolute horror show, and I didn't do my homework. So, there were obviously some things I didn't do very, but it was almost an impossible situation. I think what Zach situation and task he was given with Mike passing in the untimely time of the year and all that. He made some mistakes, maybe, tried to change the offense too much or whatever, but I don't know how you judge it with all the other things that came along with the job. Now, the other thing is the amount of money in it now that's coming from TV, and they're paying coaches, and now they're paying players. It's kind of a mentality. You got to have something going in a positive direction immediately. You better be successful by the second year, or we're making a change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough. Now, Texas A&M thing, Jimbo's a hell of a football coach. I've coached against him too many times, and most of them weren't pleasant. He's an excellent football coach. I have to agree with everything Bart said. If you're going to pay somebody $76 million not to work, you better have a good explanation. To be quite honest with you, had a pretty good. It was just stuck. And I don't know why, because he's a heck of a coach. He's had some good coaches there, but it just seems like everything was not hitting, going in the right direction.
Yeah, it seems like for a guy who's a quarterback guru, Chuck, he never could get the quarterback situation quite there at Texas A&M, though he had some talented players come through there.
Yeah, well, but when he was at Florida State, he had Jameis Winston, and he won a national championship. He never had a quarterback. He never had a guy at A&M that could make a difference. That was a championship caliber quarterback, and that's the difference. I mean, you look at the people that win national championship. They have guys at quarterback that that are difference makers, and he never had that at A&M. Like Ellis said, the guy, guy's obviously a good football coach, but if you don't have a guy, at quarterback, it's very hard to win at the championship level, and he just never had that. And I want to go back to what Ellis was saying about his situation and the same situation I had at Baylor. When you get a job and president, AD, they're gone, and they bring in new people, new AD, new president. They want their own people, and they're not going to give you to be successful. If somebody hires you, and they're going to give you the extra year, but if it's another president, another AD, they're not going to do that. And so that's what happens. I mean, these guys, they want their own people. They want to make their own hire. But the other side of this coin, and I'll say this, these guys, these ADs that give these guys these big buyouts, they're the ones that need to be fired. And I'll say the same thing, at South Carolina. They gave Muschamp a big buyout after one good year. They need to be held accountable. I mean, the ADs, they give the big buyouts and then they buy them out and they just keep trucking along. Well, that's not right. They need to be held accountable.
In the state of Texas, where you were at Baylor, and of course that's a few years ago, but I don't know that the mindset has changed. Can you kind of share with us, when you were there at Baylor, in that state, when it comes to college football and the spin whatever is necessary approach, I guess, that some schools have? Maybe Baylor isn't among those. Maybe they are now. I don't know. But what's the mindset in that state when it comes to college football and doing whatever it takes to win a championship?
Well, you have Texas and Texas A&M. That money is no object. I mean, you have to understand. They have oil endowments that fund them, beyond anything we can even imagine. Both of them. I mean, money is no object. So when everybody, you're thinking, well, they can't fire Jimbo because he's got a $76 million buyout. That doesn't bother them. Hell, they're saying that they're going to pay for it through their, through the athletic department and all that. And maybe that may be the case, but they've got guys that could write a check for $76 million and never even worry about it. If that's what they want. I mean, money is no object now, and even Baylor. I mean, you may think Baylor, but Baylor is the same way. Baylor's got money. Baylor's got big alumni money. So anywhere, in TCU, Texas Tech, all of them, they've got money. They can do what they want to do. And A&M, they'll hire whoever they want to hire, and they'll pay them as much as they need to pay them.
They will have no embarrassment about going even deeper in their pockets for the next guy than they did with Jimbo. I mean, would they break the bank for the next guy if that's what it's going to take?
Yeah, they'll do whatever they have to do. Now, I don't know who that's going to be. I mean,
you got a guess? Have you got a best guess from your coaching colleagues?
No, this. No, I don't know. I mean, the Elko, Kiffin. You know all the names.
Would they take a swing at Sweeney?
I don't think so.
Ellis, would they? Do you think they take a swing at Sweeney, Ellis?
Well, I mean, you mean will they contact him, see if he's got interest or what?
Yeah, at the very least.
Yeah, sure. Well, they probably contact 50 people, see if they're interested. I don't see Dabo being interested in that. But would Texas A&M just put a feeler out there? Sure he would. But, I don't know how many of those there'll be.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chuck. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I mean, I don't think that's a fit for them. But like Ellis said, they put a feeler out. But I mean, Dabo would. I don't think Dabo. I think Dabo would be crazy if he ever leaves Clemson. But that's another story. But no, I mean, I don't know. You have to look at what the pool is. It's not going to be Norval. I mean, surely to God, they're not going to go back to Florida State. I think it's going to be Elko. The guy, Kiffin is an interesting guy, but he's, whether they want to deal with that, I don't know. I don't know who else they would go after that they could get. It's going to be an interesting, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Absolutely. Chalk Talk with Chuck Ellis. I'm sorry, with Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson. Chuck Ellis. Combine the two. Let's go to the football real quick. Got about 4 minutes left. So, Ellis, Clemson defense looked like they put it together pretty well against Georgia Tech. Seems like they're finding some stuff there on defense, and then offensively continuing to run the football. It seems like they might be reaching their peak here down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, I don't know about peak, but I think that they realized what the problems were, and it seems to me they got the message to them. Stop turning the ball over or you won't play. And on defense, I think they were already doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think they're doing a little bit better job now, maybe cutting off explosive plays. Their plan coming in was obviously to bring pressure and get to the quarterback, both in the run game and the passing game. And, I thought obviously it proved out to be good, a good plan. That kid, King, was kind of a dual threat. He was the key to the whole offense, and they did a good job of pressuring him. Now, in the process, they gave up a couple of 3 explosive runs in the first half, but because of good field position, and except for one time, I gave him the ball on the 25-yard line to get a touchdown. Other than that, they had 5 punts. Came back out the second half, had 2 punts, 3 interceptions in a row, and one of them was for a touchdown. So they didn't give up hardly anything until they put the backups in late. They did not play well. I think the defense is really doing well. If they stay healthy, they've got a chance to win every game. But I think one other factor that's really big is offense did a better job early in the game, at least moving the football a little bit, punting the ball, not turning it over, except for once. And that was a big factor. That Georgia Tech had 2 deep balls open early in the game, and they didn't hit them. But the reason he couldn't hit them is because they were pressuring him pretty good, knocking him around, and couldn't get the running game going. So overall, it was a very good game for the defense. You know, they're going to have to play even better this week. They faced a whole lot different quarterback this week.
No question. And Chuck, on the Gamecocks, of course, they took care of their business against Vanderbilt, a feel-good win. And I think, again, with Rattler and Leggett, they got a couple of other weapons coming up now. Brown is helping them. Knox will be back. Simon's emerging. What do you think of this offense last two games here, but in particular against this Kentucky team, which has a good defensive front? If they can somehow hold up on the offensive line, you got to think Rattler will have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had a good game and you know, a feel good, like you said, feel good game. You know, Rattler and Leggett are big time. I mean, they really are. But you know, they're going to have to play really well. Still can't run the ball. You know, they had, you know, less than 100 yards, you know, other than the long run, you know, by Mario. You know, it'll all come down to protecting Rattler and, you know, but, you know, it'll be tough. I think it's going to be a tough game for them.
Well, see how Kentucky feels after getting banged around. They're pretty good at home by Alabama, and see what the post-Alabama effect is. Guys, we appreciate it as always. Have a great weekend. We'll get with you next week before the holiday and take a look at the big game between the Gamecocks and the Tigers. Ellis, thanks very much. Great hearing from you.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you. And Chuck, thank you, my friend. Great hearing from you. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, man. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That's very nice. Ellis didn't wish me happy birthday, but
see,
that's
they
okay.
did remember.
Well, maybe that'd be a good reason. Maybe I ordered one of those dadgum emergency meal packs the other day. We still haven't gone. Let's go eat birthday.
We'll do it. We'll do it. I'll call you. Keep your phone charged.
Checks in the mail.
Thank
Checks
you.
in the mail. I'll call you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ellis Johnson and Chuck Reedy with us here on Sports Side. We did have a scheduled lunch one time, but he had to cancel. He had to back out. We'll get together on that. We got to run to the break. By the way, Pat found this out. He went back and looked it up. What was Ellis got $2.1 million from Southern Miss?
Oh, I meant that off air, but yeah. What I found online, the public info was $700,000 per year for 3 years.
Yeah, that's public information. And
Congrats, Ellis.
Then he went to, I think was it Auburn he went to and made a chunk of change there for a few years. Okay, we'll be back with recruiting.
Farm Bureau Insurance's agricultural roots and ties to South Carolina farmers have shaped the company's culture and work ethic, providing a unique customer experience. Customers are treated like people, not policies. Now, while other insurance companies may have a one-size-fits-all approach to handling customers, we believe you need to be valued and treated right. Our claims professionals work until the job is done, and our agents still believe in the commitment that comes with a handshake. Call Buddy Bridges in Clinton and Lawrence at 864-923-2174 for all of your auto, home, and life insurance needs.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, travel, concerts, and sporting events through co-op connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
George Bryant here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and wow, Tsunami Robbie, there is now an amazing technology that you can use when you train receiving large game without having to endure pain. Please explain.
George, that is the magic combination. I have three simple words to define that concept: stimulation, not annihilation. Regardless of your training goals, there is a level of stimulation that is optimal for your desired gains. Tsunami Bar's flexible bar technology meets these demands because the user determines the level of stimulation with the amount of speed and force they impart into the bar or training device.
Hey, this is Phil Kornbluth. The Tsunami Bar is a terrific training device, whether you're working on your fitness or your golf game. It's convenient, it's easy to use, and you won't feel beat up afterwards. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait, order today.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit. 803-765-2968 or at jimcorbettattorney.com.
Investing can be like a puzzle. There's so many pieces to consider, and it can be hard to know where to start. But with the right guidance, you can put the pieces together to create a winning strategy. That's where Founders Investment Services come in. Our team of financial advisors can help you navigate the complexities of investing. Create a personalized plan that fits your goals and risk tolerance. We'll work with you to identify the pieces of your puzzle and how they fit into your financial future. Call 866-739-7064 or visit foundersfcuinvestments.com to learn more about how we can help you take the first step towards reaching your financial goals. Securities offered through LPL Financial.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
Okay, recruiting report brought to you by Seawells. Don't forget Seawells for the best in the catering world at 803-771-7385. That's their number online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. And the daily luncheon buffet tomorrow from 11 till 3. So again, USC women get the commitment of Joyce Edwards of Camden, and the USC men expected to get a commitment here in the next few minutes from guard Eli Ellis from North Carolina in the 25 class. Football, 25 center Isaac Sowell, 6'2", 292 of Louisville, plans to be at South Carolina for the Kentucky game. They offered him in the summer after camp. He's taken a visits this season for games, but South Carolina definitely a factor with him, and he sounds like the prototypical center. Long arms, can move you off the line, can pull and lead and things like that. So Carolina, a major factor there. 26 corners of Avian Currents of South Ohio State this weekend. 26 receiver Jude Hall of Christ Church plans to be at USC. Clemson commitment receiver TJ Moore of Tampa plans to be at Clemson Saturday. Strom Thurmond receiver Braylon Staley, a Tennessee commitment that USC's been trying to get involved with again, plans to be at Tennessee Saturday. 25 receiver David Rodriguez of Providence visited Clemson today after stopping at USC on Tuesday. He's returning to USC for the game Saturday, of course, as we told you last week about him. His grandmother lives near Columbia, so he's down visiting her and making these recruiting visits. That'll do it. And we're going to hit the break. Be back with SC Wild with Major Billy Downer.
Point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's forecast: cloudy and not as chilly with a low dipping to 50. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and gray with a high of 69 and a light on and off drizzle to deal with. Friday, we stay cloudy and shower chances increase to 40%. The high will be 71. For the weekend, much better with mostly sunny skies both Saturday. Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Signing up for health insurance can be confusing.
Lurie Life and Health reviews your options and get you the discount you qualify for. Now more people than ever qualify.
I'm a new mom, and I have no idea what we need for our new baby.
If you're up or not happy with your current plan, we'll find the one that's right for you.
Thanks to Lurie Life and Health, is covered.
I'm Joel Lurie. We'll simplify the process. It only takes a few minutes to sign up, and our service is free. Call 803-256-2067.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting President Biden and China's Xi Jinping have wrapped up their first meeting in a year after hours of talks, a working lunch, and a stroll in the garden. They left showcasing modest agreements to combat illegal fentanyl and reestablish military communications. The mother of a 6-year-old boy who shot his teacher in Virginia classroom has been sentenced to 21 months in prison for using marijuana while owning a gun. Taylor's son took his mother's handgun to school and shot and wounded teacher Abby Zwerner in January. Taylor's attorneys have requested probation and home confinement ahead of Wednesday's federal court sentencing. U.S. District Judge Mark S. Davis about the exact punishment prosecutors requested. On Wall Street, the Dow 163 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman-Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat & Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat & Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Holiday shoppers, ready to get some great Christmas discounts? Well, Shooter's Choice is where you need to be. Shop early and experience their brand new, beautiful remodel rooms. It's a new and easier shopping experience at Shooter's Choice with huge selections of new firearms and accessories to choose your perfect Christmas gifts from. I'm talking store-wide discounts, different items all month long, many with limited supply. So maybe you need some help, huh? Well, why don't you let the staff at Shooter's Choice help you make the best choices? See, they're the real deal. Seasoned firearms experts waiting to share their knowledge buying experience. Too many choices for that loved one, huh? Well, grab a gift card. Let's not forget November, a magical Black Friday weekend at Shooter's Choice with some unreal, ridiculously low prices on select firearms. Save hundreds of dollars on Black Friday weekend, as well as store-wide the whole month. If you can't make it to the store, shop online. ShootersChoiceSC.com. Get that Christmas wish list ready. Make your shopping experience an easy and pleasant one. Make your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, honey, I know you're taking some meds for cholesterol. I was reading that if you're on these medicines, you should also be taking CoQ.
Actually, our pharmacist mentioned that to me already. He called me the other day, and we went through each of our medications together.
Really? He called you?
He asked about side effects, recommended supplements that could help me, and let me know the risk of mixing certain drugs.
Wow. I'm happy to know that True Pharmacy is thinking about us.
True Pharmacy, 28 Charleston Highway, 3217 Divine Street, or TrueRxSC.com.
Hey, it's Jay with the Cigar Militia Premium Cigar Store. Have you noticed the change in weather? Some people call it fall. We call it cigar smoking season. Or better yet, it's football weather. Come in and check out our humidor and do what I do, two-stick, or try something new. We've got an awesome staff willing to walk you through, help you find your new favorite. And besides, you're going to need some celebration cigars for when your favorite team wins the big game. The Cigar Militia, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
Now on Sports Talk, it's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to take your questions about the growers in South Carolina. Give him a call at 888-898-2525. It's SC Wild from DNR on the Sports Talk Radio Network.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Another edition of SC Wild from DNR with the Major, Billy Downer with us here on Sports Talk. Great to have the Major with us. If you want to reach him, that phone number, 888-89.
And it's that time of year.
888-898-2525. 888-898-2525. You've been working on your duck call. Very, very good.
Well, it's easy.
Oops. Looks like we had a little audio drop out there. So stand by, everybody. That was a terrific duck call by Major Downer there. That was sharp. It was breaking. Like if you were out in the outdoors, you would hear that breaking through the air. That would attract, I think, any duck within about 500 yards. Any duck that hears that, Major, is come a calling. If they hear that.
Yes, that's easy when you're using a waterfowl company duck call. Guys out of Sumter, South Carolina, that make that call. Give them a little prop tonight. The waterfowl company. It's always nice to give a South Carolina company a prop. So
sure deal.
So we are absolutely bringing in waterfowl season. Come the 18th is when we're bringing in. We had Youth Day this past Saturday, and Saturday we'll bring in the first season of for waterfowl this Saturday, the 18th, which will be what we call typically the Thanksgiving season, the 18th through the 25th, so Thanksgiving week. And there's a lot of people probably already out shivering in a boat, sitting somewhere trying to hold the hole, over the ducks down, trying to keep everybody else away from them. But anyway,
3 days in advance.
Somebody's probably 5-6 days in advance.
Wow,
there's some real hardcore people out there. Oh yeah, I will say, pound for pound, South Carolina duck hunters are probably some of the hardest hunters out there because we hunt so little. We just have to hunt so little duck that it's hunting hard. And when you go somewhere else, you won't out hunt somebody from South Carolina because we have to hunt so hard here. But anyway, waterfowl season's coming, so want to go through some of the things new when we start waterfowl season. The first thing I'll talk about is just where our ducks, as far as duck numbers, look like right now. It's a little early. We haven't really had a lot of cold weather. I have heard of some ringneck's been moving into some of the local ponds, and could do early. Teal have moved through. Blue wings moved through already. There are, typical your gabwall, your green wing teal, a smattering here and there of camelback, a weird pintail here or there. The coast, of course, getting a bit larger flights in, and as we get further through the year, get toward December, we'll see even larger numbers. And wood ducks, it's going to be kind of hard right now. It's been really dry the last few months, and locally in the Midlands here, it's been almost drought conditions. So swamps are dry, which concentrates wood ducks to water holes if you can find the water. But it's just hard wood duck and swamps dry. So that's typically the way you see success with wood ducks. We've had plenty of rainfall, swamps, beaver ponds are flooded, and you get a lot of wood ducks. So that's kind of the state of things right now for us across the state. But as far as the limits this year, the limits this year are still 6 total. I'm going to go through this, and folks that don't know about this will seem very boring. To those of us that have been doing this for years, we understand the terminology. You get 6 total, including no more than 4 mallards, of which 2 can be hens. That's 2 hens. 3 heads, 2 hens, or 4 green heads. You can have 3 wood ducks. You can have 2 of the following: redheads, scaup, today, November 11th and 18th through 25th, December 12th through 22nd. So through the 22nd of December, scaup, the limit's 2. After that, it's going to go back to 1. And that's just because the numbers are so low on scaup. A little confusing, but right now, open season comes in, you can kill 2 scaup. Camelbacks, 1, you can kill 2 of the following. You can kill 2 camelbacks this year. 1 pintail, 1 fulvous whistling duck, or 1 black-bellied whistling duck. Black ducks and mottled ducks are in the table below. when you go into the rules and regs, black ducks for areas east and south of Interstate 95, one black or one mottled duck in the total bag. For areas west and north of I-95, two black ducks or one black duck and one mottled duck. Now, west and north of 95, you're not going to see a mottled duck probably to begin with. The mottled ducks are a coastal bird, and the reason we try to limit you to 1 and 1 on the coast is so that folks won't take too many. So it's one black duck and mottled duck, no more than one of each of those or one of the other. Both of one black and one mottled duck, a little bit different. So a complete bag limit, you could have 4 mallards, which could include two hens, one black duck, and one mottled duck in a 6-gun limit. You could see that, which is used not to be the case for many years. Folks can remember when the 4 mallard limit also included one brown duck, which included a mottled duck or black. So we away from that, and we really trust people to know how to identify those birds better. Mottled ducks, hens, a hen mallard, and a black duck all are similar to the undiscerning eye, but to a good waterfowler, it's pretty easy to tell the difference. Black ducks are very dark. I call them a very chocolate, almost, we call them black because in the air they look very dark. They have a lot of chocolate in their feathers, a deep chocolate to the main body of the feather. And then your mottled ducks have the light touches around it. They are darker than a hen mallard, and they have a really light head. They do have typically your orange feet, and they'll have a yellow bill or a yellow mottled bill, where a mallard hen will have an orange bill. So those are the differences you'll see right off the bat between mottled duck, black duck, and hen mallards. But those are the things that have befuddled many a waterfowler throughout the years in their trying to determine what to shoot, what not to shoot. And so many people choose not to duck hunt because they can't figure out the difference in the species. Of course, 6 total, you can kill 6 widgeon, you can kill 6 gadwall, you can kill 6 teal if you happen upon them. So those are the birds you can kill 6. One change of note, particularly in the Midlands of South Carolina, if you hunted around Lake Marion in Clarendon County, for years, as far back as I can remember, you could not shoot geese during the regular waterfowl season. The only time that you could shoot geese was during the early season, special goose season in September. That has changed. If you look in the rules and regs, you're not going to find the exclusion zone that used to be there. We went from excluding the whole county, anything around Lake Marion, to just a section of Clarendon County, and now that complete exclusion zone is gone. So if you're hunting on Lake Marion, in and around Lake Marion, on Remnant Island, there is an exclusion zone. Limits do apply to Canada geese. The standard limits 5 per day. So a Canada goose is be taken this year in the Remnant area around Lake Marion. There is no exclusion zone. So that is a change. And if you look for it, you just won't find it, which is one of the things sometimes it's hard to tell if you're looking for a change when you can't see anything. The exclusion zones were removed, and it's not there anymore. So because it's not there, it's not illegal. So that's a major change for waterfowlers in the Lake Marion Moultrie area there. So moving forward, as we prepare for duck season, the things we need to talk about as far as license requirements. Right sure, remember, you have to have several different types of licenses. Your state hunting license, first and foremost. Your migratory bird permit, the HIP program, Harvest Information Program, the migratory bird permit, which is different from the migratory waterfowl permit. Migratory bird permit's free. It's where you answer a series of questions. How many doves did you shoot last year? How many ducks? How many geese? How many coots? Those questions there. That's free. Then you have to have your migratory waterfowl permit. That's the state, what we used to call the old state duck stamp. And have that. And then in addition to that, you have to have your federal waterfowl stamp. Now, all of these can be purchased online. I remember the days rushing to the post office to try to find the federal duck stamp, and the different post offices would run out inevitably. A smaller town, they run out of duck stamps, and people would be freaking out. Well, we live in a new world online, and you can purchase your federal duck stamp through the DNR app. Going to, remember, you can go to Go Outdoors SC, Go Outdoors SC, and you can download that app on your phone. You can load your license up, and you can order everything you need right there on your phone, including electronic federal waterfowl stamp endorsement. Now, when you buy the electronic waterfowl stamp, first thing everybody wants to know is what sign. When you buy the electronic waterfowl stamp, you get to put the date it begins, and you have 45 days it's good for. So keep that in mind. When you put the date it's going to start, that's when it starts. You have 45 days. So it's good for 45 days electronically. Technically, they have a month and a half to mail you the stamp. After 45 days, you're supposed to have the stamp, sign it across the face like we always have, and affix that to your license. We are quickly moving to an electronic stage. Our officers now working electronically on your phone. When I was working dove season this year, I mentioned that in an earlier show that I was starting to see people that hand me their phone. They'd show me their license on the phone, and that's completely fine. And that electronic waterfowl stamp, we will accept. If we see that electronic waterfowl stamp, as long as you bought it before that day, for the moment we can check you, you're in good shape. So that electronic age, you can buy it the morning you go duck hunting. It's okay. That morning, you can do all your licenses right there. The days when you get out in the boat, you go, oh my gosh, I might have forgot this. Go on your phone and you can get that license right then and there before the sun even comes up. So those are things to think about in the modern age we're in. Electronically, that's where we've moved to. So all these things you have to purchase license-wise can be actually purchased on your phone, or you can go to Walmart or to your local sporting goods store, as you always have, to our licensed vendors and purchase a license there. And they may have a federal waterfowl stamp to say you're right there. But you can still order it electronically at the vendor at Walmart as well. So those are things to keep in mind. Again, the federal waterfowl stamp is good for 45 days. When you get that physical stamp in the mail, you sign it and affix it to your license. So those are license requirements. When it comes to shooting ducks, the other rules that apply. Remember, you cannot take waterfowl over bait. Bait is anything that can be construed as food or any type of foodstuffs, corn, wheat, anything that ducks would eat. You can't shoot ducks over bait. Now, people go, well, how in the world is shooting in a duck pond that's planted corn flooded not bait? Well, the federal law actually allows for agricultural crops to be flooded. Not manipulated, but flooded. As long as they're flooded and the crops are standing and have not been bothered, you're in good shape. You can hunt that field all you want. Just like you've been hunting rice fields forever on the coast, or rice fields in Arkansas or wherever that have been, properly, as far as been harvested. Then they flood them. That's also fine as long as it was a normal harvest practice. So those are some of the rules we get into to get real sticky. But as far as hunting, your gun, if it's double barrel over and under, you're good to go. Side by side, you're good to go. No worries there. But if you have a pump or semi-automatic shotgun, you must have a gun capable of holding more than 3 shells. That means that there must be a plug in the magazine to prevent that gun from holding more than 3 shells at one time. 1 in the center and 2 underneath, as we like to say. Underneath, as long as that gun will not carry more than 2 normal length shells, you're in good shape. If it'll take a 3rd shell, we got a problem. That's called hunting ducks without a plug or with an improper plug. So make sure your gun is properly plugged so it cannot contain more than 3 shells. Speaking of shells, non-toxic shot is mandatory. Used to be, we used to say steel shot, but there's so many producers out there that are approved by the federal government to produce what's called non-toxic shot, because again, now it's 40 years ago, they determined that lead shot was causing death in ducks who were ingesting it. There was so much lead shot in fields and in the water that birds would ingest that lead shot and they were dying from lead poisoning. So they took lead out and made us start using steel shot. Steel actually is lighter than lead, so it's actually faster. It has really fast loads. There's some loads today, it boasts 1,550 feet per second. So really fast loads out there. But you can have steel, you can have bismuth. You can have tungsten. The tungsten. There's a couple of different varieties out there that are all approved by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. A couple of really cool loads. There's one here in South Carolina actually made that I saw today that was really cool. I did not know that Migra ammunition is made right here in South Carolina. They've got some really cool loads. They do what's called a stacks load, where they combine two different size shot, like a 2 and a 4 together. So a smaller shot like 4 and a larger shot like 2 together, which really makes a nice pattern. They make that in 20 gauge. They make that in 12 gauge. Of course, Migra's a little more expensive shell, but I don't know what isn't anymore. The shells, a box 25 shells may cost you $30 anymore and up. So folks pay $40, $50 for 10 turkey shells. I don't know why you would worry about paying $30 for 25 for ducks, but that's some of the cost you pay to play the game. But Migra shells here in South Carolina, very good shell. But anyway, any non-toxic shell. So beyond that, also, just making sure your shooting times. You cannot shoot before 30 minutes before sunrise. It's 30 minutes before sunrise, official sunrise, until sunset. So 30 minutes before sunrise until sunset. That doesn't mean 45 minutes before sunrise. I don't care what everybody else does around you. You wait until 30 minutes before, because I can tell you, people get charged for shooting 15 minutes early. That's too early. And it's just an unfair advantage, and it's too dark. People can't identify. The reason for that is people can't identify the birds. So you want to make sure you got enough light to be able to identify birds. And even at 30 minutes prior, sometimes it can be difficult. So pick your shots. I used to always tell people when I was guiding them, take one shot at a time, particularly first light. When you get that first flight of ducks, if you're in a big pond or on the lake, and you get the ducks in, shoot one at a time unless you're absolutely sure what you're shooting at. Because you never know what may fall if you shoot twice. You could shoot 2 hens back in the day when you could only shoot 1 hen mallard. So those are the things you had to watch out for. But shooting time, again, 30 minutes before sunrise until official sunset. So again, to recap the main rules, gun must be properly plugged. You have a license, properly licensed. Your gun must be plugged. You have to have shells that are non-toxic and approved by the Fish and Wildlife Service. You have to make sure you shoot between the right times, and of course, not shooting anywhere that is baited. Many people used to take corn and pour out in the swamp and go hunt, which would gather ducks and concentrate them, and that made an unfair advantage for you to shoot too many. So that's why it's illegal to bait. Now, a lot of folks have a problem with the planted ponds because they feel like that's legal baiting. Well, that's a whole nother topic for another day. But a lot of ponds are out there planted, are providing great habitat and feeding ground for waterfowl that are wintering here in South Carolina, that not only go to that pond, they also go to the lake where our public can shoot. So it's great we have all this great habitat around us that's been built in the last 20 years that has really made South Carolina a great holdover for a lot of ducks, a lot more than we've had in a long time. So those are the things to think about as we go into the waterfowl season here. Again, I can't get out of the show without talking about safety for a brief minute. So before we end up tonight, Phil, let's just remind folks, when you're duck hunting, most of the time you're going to be standing in a blind or in tight quarters in a boat. Make sure that you identify the areas in which it's safe to shoot. We call them fields. You identify your zone of fire. That zone of fire is the area in which you can safely shoot. If you're on the left side of the boat, you can shoot straight out and to your left like a clock around 9, to 9 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock. If you're on the right side of the boat, you can shoot from 12 o'clock all the way around to 3, 4, 5 o'clock maybe. But, so it's like a clock. You can shoot out in front of you and to the left and out in front of you to the right on the right side. If you start shooting across your neighbor, that's when we have problems. When people swing on ducks and get target focused, we've had people a long time ago, some really bad actions where people have swung the gun and pulled the trigger on the boat. So make sure you stay in your zone of fire. If you're hunting with dogs, make sure your guns are out of the way of the dog. We've had dogs step on guns and guns go off and people get hurt. Don't lay your gun in the bottom of the boat. Make sure you got a good gun rest. Even a duck blind, make sure you got a good gun rest a knot, something, so that gun won't slide down and go off on your neighbor's foot next to you. Again, in duck blinds, same thing, tight quarters, choose your zone of fire, know where it's your area to safely shoot. Don't shoot outside of it. Distance it. Here's one of those, there's not a law on any of this I'm talking about now. These aren't laws, these are what we call ethics. When you're on the lake, remember where everybody else is hunting around you. Don't get too close to somebody else. Don't get 100 yards from somebody. You know, shot will travel easily 200 yards. At the right angle, it's going to go 200 yards. So minimum distance from someone else, at least 200 yards. Don't shoot towards somebody else. I've had it happen myself. You're shooting out there in the water, you shoot, especially with some of these non-toxic loads, the pellets aren't exactly perfectly round, and they'll scatter out a little bit and fly off. So you don't shoot even in the direction towards someone else. In these duck ponds, make sure you identify where the other blinds are so you don't swing on another blind and scatter them a shot. That's just one of those no-nos. Make sure you know where everybody else is laying around you. Determine your safe zone of fire and stay within it. You know, we talk about in dove field, safe zone of fire up and down. You know, you don't want to ground swat birds on the water if you can help it. You know, if people do it when you get a duck down, you want to make sure you take that duck down and you put it down. You want to make sure it's not swimming off. You know, some people make those shots. But remember, when you water, that shot can ricochet. And there's dogs out there. If you hunt with a dog like I do, you want to make a dog guy mad, shoot on the water when his dog's in the water. They'll get very upset with you. So just be careful and think through what you're doing. Again, know your zone of fire, stay within it. We want everybody to have an enjoyable waterfowl season, a great opener on Saturday. We want you to come enjoy Thanksgiving next week so you can go out and hunt again.
Those are wise,
so those are our
wise
safe tips.
words. Yes, sir. Outstanding. Now, we won't talk to you again before Thanksgiving. In our last minute, tell everybody your favorite injection sauce, your favorite injection fluid for deep frying those turkeys, what you like to use.
You know, everybody argues over that. What's the best injectable? I always like the Creole butter. The Cajun injectable Creole butter is always a fan favorite for turkeys, for any table bird fare. So the Cajun injectable, and you can find that pretty much every store throughout South Carolina, from the Piggly Wiggly to the Publix.
All right, real quick.
To the Harris Teeter.
At what point during the fry do you inject, or do you inject prior to dropping?
Inject prior to dropping.
Okay.
Not afterwards. Always. So that juice gets heated up with that turkey too.
Huh.
You wouldn't want to put that raw juice in there afterwards. You want to inject before you fry. And the biggest secret about frying is you don't want to take the turkey out too early and then have to put it back in. When you pull it out, you want it to come out to maintain that juicy texture. Pull it out at the right moment. Timing's everything.
You got that right. Major, Grandpa, thank you. I know you about having your first Thanksgiving with your new little one.
Absolutely. We'll have a lot of fun. Christmas is just around the corner. So Grandpa's already thinking about all the big presents he can buy.
I love it. Major, thank you so much. That was great stuff. I hope people learned a little or a lot from everything you had to say. You were well versed in that. And we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thanks, sir. Same to y'all.
Appreciate you. Major Billy Downer, who, for those of you who don't know, a couple of weeks ago became a granddad for the first time. So we love calling him Grandpa. That's going to do it. And thank you, Pat Daniel. For those of you listening to us on our stream, I'd like to report that we have eradicated our audio issues, and hopefully moving forward, you'll find a much cleaner and consistent audio stream from us. So thank you, Pat, for working on that. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow here on Sports Talk.